TikTok has a problem. I'm not talking about the terrible memes, the drama, or even Paul Breach. I'm talking about flat earthers. If you haven't stumbled across this side of the app yet, then honestly, I envy you. Flat Earth TikTok can be best described as finely distilled idiocy injected directly into your ear holes. It's frankly concerning how many of them congregate around some of the flat Earth content creators or in the comments section of space videos. When any major spaceflight event happens, these parasites latch onto it, and space company launches are no exception. Of course, private spaceflight causes massive issues for flat earthers, because "my government lies" doesn't work when a non-governmental organisation launches something. This may explain the TikTok meltdown over the latest Starship test flight, in which Booster 9 and Ship 25 managed to avoid destroying Stage 0, completed a successful hot staging, demonstrated a booster flip manoeuvre, and reached space on a suborbital trajectory. These massive accomplishments are indicative of SpaceX's ability to rapidly iterate on designs, because the first test flight did not accomplish these feats. Flat Earthers, however, cannot and will never understand what the phrase test flight means, and so instead focus on the rapid unscheduled disassembly of the booster and spacecraft. Who could have imagined that a highly experimental vehicle running new hardware didn't perform perfectly on its first flight? Truly shocking stuff. Anyway, let's find out what these troubled TikTokers are saying about Starship, shall we?
Liftoff on Spaceship Atlantis. Final visit to enhance the vision of Hubble into the deepest grandeur of our universe.
Okay, Houston, the Falcon is on the plane at Hadley. Roger, Falcon.
Firmament this, firmament that. The main comment I see in any Starship clip on TikTok is talking about the firmament. There's even some lunatics ruining perfectly good launch footage with their "I'm stupid" signs. So, what is the firmament? We first need to understand that many, if not most, flat earthers are religious and specifically Christian.
What's up, guys? Jesus here, better known as XXX No Scope Lord 420 on Xbox Live.
It's also important to understand that a vast majority of Christians do not take the Bible as a literal documentation of history, because they know what the difference is between fiction and reality. The firmament is described in the Genesis creation narrative as a physical dome to separate the primal sea from the earth. In essence, the firmament is supposed to be a barrier that covers the earth so the ocean above us can't leak down and get us all wet. This is all a lovely story, but flat earthers seem to think this is actually real, with zero evidence, naturally. This leads us to Starship. After hot staging, the booster performed a flip manoeuvre in order to attempt a soft landing in the Gulf of Mexico. Unfortunately, it appears there were some problems with relighting some of the engines, and it appears some were severely damaged. This in turn appears to have caused either an explosion due to the problem, or the activation of the flight turbination system, which destroys the vehicle to avoid having a rogue booster potentially flatten somebody's boat. Of course, this perfectly legitimate and normal explanation for this series of events can't be accepted by flat earthers. Instead, they insist that the rocket hit the firmament and exploded because nothing can pass it. Of course, they have zero evidence for this, and in fact, the footage shows that it couldn't have hit anything. Let's have a look, flat earther style. Okay, so this is from the SpaceX Starship test flight stream. I'm just going to talk you through what's happening here and what the flat earthers think is happening. You can see it's making its way to orbit right now, and eventually it's going to shut down most of the engines. Here we go, just coming up. You'll see the outer engine is shut down. You'll see the hot staging take place. Here we are. See the booster separates from the vehicle, and relights some of the engines to make any attempt at a soft landing. And so at this point where there's some few problems, you can see some of the engines are smoking away, looks like they're sort of disintegrating. And eventually you'll see another big one. There we go. And another one, and boom, it's gone. Now if we watch this back in slow motion, you'll see why it can't have hit the firmament. See, it's having a few issues there, smoking away, and eventually you'll see sort of the top middle half is where the explosion takes place. Here we go, and right there. I'll just replay it for you. Here we go again. Boom. So why would a vehicle hitting something explode at the middle? Why would it not explode at the impact point, which would be where the engines are? Of course, it hasn't hit anything, and they're lying, but these are flat earthers we're talking about. And if we also watch this clip, I also want to talk about the other stage, which they just completely forget about for some reason. It's a video from someone who was there to watch it. You can see the hot staging there, and you'll see the booster stage move away just there. You can see the tiny little dots there on the top of your screen, and you'll see the second stage, the actual Starship part of Starship, just keeps going. And eventually you'll see the booster explode. But how does the other stage of this rocket carry on through the firmament if the booster supposedly hits it? You'll see it explode here. There it goes, and you can see Starship's carrying on just fine. So it's clearly not hit the firmament, has it? Because it's gone straight through, which you think can't happen. Well, there we are. I'd also like to briefly cover this comment because it's just as nonsensical as the others. This is something a lot of flat earthers say, as if it's some kind of proof that there's waters above. Anyone who knows anything about rockets knows the exhaust plumes outwards as it ascends due to decreasing atmospheric pressure, but of course these lunatics insist there's some kind of ocean above our heads. It also begs the question, if we can't break through the firmament as they claim, how are spacecraft reaching the waters above? It makes zero logical sense. I shouldn't be surprised that their worldview has no consistency. After all, it is fantasy nonsense. Just a short one for you today, getting back into the swing of things after some technical issues.
Wow, it's just like real life, man. What the?
I thought covering this relevant topic would be a nice way to jump back in. And remember to subscribe and like the video. Cheers!